Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be unboxing Regal Robot's latest addition to their archive collection, and this one's actually a 2-pack, and it's Lightman and Bubblehead from Return of the Jedi, and these were concept characters that didn't make it in the movie, but we'll talk about the history of that in a little bit. First, let's talk about some of the information for the pre-orders that will be live tomorrow, Tuesday, May 20th, 2025 at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on regalrobot.com. So there's only going to be 100 sets made, and they are going to come together in a 2-pack. Now they're going to retail for $349 for the pair. So this is actually the least expensive maquettes that Regal Robot has put out, especially because it comes with 2 separate maquettes in the pack. And even though the 2-pack's only $349, it's still going to be eligible for the 6-month payment plan. Now, just like all the other maquettes, Regal Robot went into the Lucasfilm archives and digitally scanned the original concept maquettes that are in the Lucasfilm archive and is allowing us to bring home a piece of Star Wars history. Now, these will be numbered edition as opposed to like a signature edition or the legacy editions. So again, these are only going to be numbered edition. And again, it's $349, but it's going to include both alien sculpture replicas. So now let's talk a little bit about the history of these 2 characters and how they came about. So Bubblehead actually was sculpted by the late Dan Howard, who was a foam fabricator who worked on a lot of the kind of larger creatures in Return of the Jedi. And the other character, known as Lightman, was actually sculpted by David Carson, who sculpted a lot of the other maquettes and creature masks for the movie. And although both of these concept maquettes look relatively simple, they actually have a lot of paint in them, a lot of washes, a lot of weathering, and it just really cool to see these in person, because the only time we've really seen these are in behind the scene pictures of the maquettes kind of laid out at the Lucasfilm archives. And because they didn't make it into the film, I think they're characters that kind of just get lost in the background in these photos. In fact, even in this pan from Star Wars to Jedi, you really only see Bubblehead there, and you don't really see Lightman, kind of in there. I don't know if he's hidden or maybe he's a little more towards the right. But their real claim to fame of these 2 maquettes is that Michael Freeman photographed them and featured them on the cover of the 1990 Smithsonian magazine. And I love the fact that he picked kind of non-traditional, obscure characters to feature on the cover of this magazine. But Lightman almost made it. So according to Carson, the early concept of the being of light was to be seen wandering the halls of Jabba's palace, but they scrapped the idea because of how dangerous the light rig was on the stunt actor. And I love the fact that Regal Robot is giving these 2 characters kind of a second chance, right, at fandom, because now we get to have them in our collection and we get to tell people that look at our collection the stories behind Lightman and Bubblehead, and they can continue living on in, Star Wars lore. And I'm sure Lightman's going to get some of the same treatment that Max Rebo got, with the little rear end there. But Bubblehead also, he's a very interesting character. Some people have compared him to like Squidward or like, some type of octopus character, which he definitely does. And I love the fact that it has so many washes and there's just so much depth to this maquette. And like I said, even though it's a simple design, the colors just are awesome, and Regal Robot always does such an amazing job at getting all those color washes and the weathering just right. And as you could see, there's a lot of greens in there, there's purples, there's reds, pinks, and obviously the eyes are all fully painted. And again, Regal Robot just does such a great job, especially with the eyes. It gives it just kind of this like realistic vibe to them. So like I said, these will be available tomorrow, Tuesday, May 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on regalrobot.com. They're going to be $349 for the 2-pack, and yeah, there's only going to be 100 of these sets made, so definitely set your alarms and make sure you don't miss this, because it's definitely just a cool piece of history, a cool piece of Star Wars history, and just really cool additions, especially if you've been collecting these concept maquettes. And they just look so cool together. I've seen so many different displays, some people that are displaying them kind of on shelves. I opted in to display them kind of like how we see in From Star Wars to Jedi, and I'm just gonna lay them all out, you know, almost like on a table. And yeah, so we'll see. I'm working on a new display room, so I have very cool display in the works for these guys. But yeah, there you go. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this short review. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, let me know how I can make these better. And don't forget to go join the Regal Robot fan page over on Facebook and keep up with kind of the latest news. All right, see you guys next time. Thanks.